That's what I heard.
I looked at the,
That's what I'm getting at. It's a better than Jeff. That's what I think you're saying.
Jeff has done a good job, I'm not complaining. I'll go up there, you get the better crack.
Nicole and Sean's using reverse psychology, isn't he?
Is that like
Okay.
Wally? Is that like Wally?
We'll get started here. We'll do a little demo here on how to turn on ARCs, G02s, G03s. Just to kind of get used to doing that. We'll make a little print here to start with. Call that our 00. Okay, here we'll call this 1/4 inch arc. We'll give that a 1/2 inch radius. Okay. So first thing you do, like we talked about with cutter comp, you want to figure out which way you have to cut. Remember, your CNC, you always want to climb mill. So with that, you want to cut that way. It's your cutting direction. Okay, now that we know the cutting direction, we're going to go around the part. We want to know which one do we want to do as a cutter comp offset, G41 or G42?
C41.
As that tool's cutting away from you, you want to be on the left side of your profile, so we're going to use G41. Okay? So now, with arcs, you're either going to use a G02 or G03. G02 is clockwise. G03 is counterclockwise. Okay, so if this is our direction, we're coming around, going down like that, we got a G02. Okay, as it comes down around here, come around here, we're going to go this way. G03, it's counterclockwise. Okay, to get to that point, we're going to go this way, we're going to go this way. We didn't give this a radius. We'll call that 750 radius. Okay, we're going to come around that way, we're back to a G02. Okay? So now we got our direction of the arcs that we want. Okay, next thing I'll do when I get a print like this is I'm going to figure out my tangent points. Real similar to doing our 1, 2, 3 block, you're just connecting the dots. In that case, you're just going from corner to corner to corner to corner. But here it's no different. We're just going to go to a tangent point, do the arc, tangent point, 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 and then off our part. Just going to connect dots. We just have more arcs now instead of just straight lines. So we have to figure out what our points are. Right here, this point, X, you got a 250 radius. So that means that's 250 that way. So I'm going to take 3 inches minus the 250. Y is going to be 250 from here. Negative 250. No, I'm sorry, Y0. Thinking ahead of myself. Okay, Y0. This point, X is now going to be 3. Y negative, now it's negative 250. Okay? But I'll just go through the whole print. This is going to help you out later. I'm going to go through the whole print and do the same thing. This here, X is still 3. Y, you got a 1/2 inch now, is going to be negative 1.5. This point is going to be 1/2 inch from here to here, so X 2.5. Now Y is going to be a negative 2. Here, now here's our 0. Now we're 3/4 of an inch. So you got x 0.75, y is still -2. Up here, x is going to be 0. Y is going to be 3/4 of an inch. From here, from our 2 inch, so that's going to be -1.25. Okay, so now we have all of our points. Got that point to that point. Okay? So now we're going to be ready to start writing our program. Okay? When you write an arc line, an arc block line on your program, you need this information. G02 or G03. You need your X and your Y. That's going to be your endpoint. Okay? You need an I and a J. Just kind of get rid of this right now. Okay? Your I is your incremental distance. From start point to center point. This is incremental distance from start point to center point. And this is for your X. And this is for your Y. So this is your arc line. You're going to have to tell a direction, your end point, and your incremental distance from start point to center point. And if you write it in this order always, you know, the I's and the J's go together. And the the X's and the I's go together, and the Y's and the J's go together. All right? So now we're ready to start writing our program. Let's say we're going to use a 1/2 inch end mill. All right? Remember back when we did a cutter comp, if we start a diameter off, that usually gives us a pretty good start point. So we're going to start writing our program. T1, M06, G90, G54, G00, X, our start point. Okay? Diameter off in both directions. Alright? We're going to have an S, M03, G43, 801. Wrap it above the part, turn your coolant on. Same 4 lines, the same 4 pieces of information you got to start every program with. Okay? Next step down, maybe you're going to go down to a Z depth. You're going to cut down below so we can machine off. Okay? So now we're sitting up here at a start point, ready to turn our cutter comp on. G01, G41, Y0, and with the G41, you need a D number. That D number has to correspond with your tool number. Tool number 1, you want D number 1. Tool 2, you'd want D2. And with that, with your first time, you need a feed rate. The first time you use a G01. Alright, so now we got our cutter comp on, ready to go. Our tangent point of our cutter sitting at Y0. We're ready to start cutting. First thing you gotta do is get to your start point of your first arc. X 2.75. Okay? So now we're sitting over here. Okay? Now we're going to do our arc. We're going to do a G02. Okay? Which direction we're going? We're going G02. I need my end point, which is over here. Okay? endpoint. Now, I need my incremental distance from my start point to my center point. Here's my start point, here's my center point. Remember now it's incremental distance. How far did I change in the x direction from here to here? You don't change anything in the x direction in this case. So your I is going to be 0. And our j, well now we changed from here to here. We changed that amount. We went in the negative direction. So that's a negative 0.25. Okay? G02, endpoint, incremental distance from start point to center point. Now we're sitting over here. We have to get down to here. Okay? Now this is a straight cut. So now you got to go G01. Remember, if you don't call it G01, it's going to want to cut a G02, another arc. So you're going to go G01, Y, negative 1.5. Okay? Alright, so we're sitting right here. Now we're going to cut another arc. Well, we already decided it was a G03. Okay? Endpoint. This point right here. X 2.5, Y negative 2.0. Right here. Okay? I and J. Here's our start point to center point. The center point of our arc now is down here. Once again, we didn't change in the x direction. I is going to be 0. J, well, we went from here to here, which is going to be 0.5, went in the negative direction. J is going to be negative 0.5. Okay? So that puts us right here. Now we have to get over here. G01, X 0.75. Okay, remember you had to get back into a straight cut. Alright, now we're ready to cut another arc, G02. Endpoint, up here. X0, Y negative 1.25. Okay. I's and J's, start point to center point. I, we didn't change it all again. Once again, I is 0. J went from here to here. This time, we went upwards, so that's a positive number. J 0.75. So that's that arc for that one. Now we're sitting over here. Okay? I'll go over here to finish up the program. Okay, so we went up here, we just got done cutting a clockwise arc. Got to go to G01. Okay, now we're ready to cut off our part. Y 0.5, I'll go back up to my start point. Okay? G01, Y 0.5. So now we ran off our part, made our complete pass, ready to turn our cutter comp off. G40, back to my start point. Okay? If that's the only pass we want to make, G00, Z1, turn your coolant off. Be the end of your program, or you can put an M01 in there. If you have multiple passes, you want to highlight from here all the way over to where you turn your cutter comp off. You would highlight that whole thing, copy it, paste it down here, in between there, however many times you want to repeat it, and just change your Z value. Once again, you always want to turn your cutter comp off every time you change your Z depth. So, that's how you program G02s and G03s.